Alright, let's cut to the chase. What unfolds in this tale? The situation is far from simple. It's a revelation I never imagined I would share, especially not with a crowd of strangers online. Yet here I stand, compelled to release the weight of my thoughts. And so the journey begins. I stand at the threshold of 47 years, a tapestry woven with experiences and stories yet to unfold. Shattered vows. A solitary child. Honestly, it feels as though my life is trapped in an endless loop, like a faded melody echoing through time. As the moon casts its silvery glow, I navigate the hushed corridors as a night shift nurse. In a job like that, you encounter sights that shake the very foundation of your beliefs, and over time, you find yourself adapting, becoming numb to the chaos that surrounds you. One learns to embrace the strange hours, the relentless fatigue, and the chilling tales that send shivers down the spine. And what does that spell for my existence beyond the confines of my job? It's almost as if it never existed at all. Each day, I rise to the relentless rhythm of work, returning home as shadows stretch across the walls. Sleep eludes me, a fleeting whisper in the night, only to awaken and plunge back into the cycle once more. 5 nights a week, the shadows deepened and the air thickened with anticipation. It's a ritual that has woven itself into the very fabric of my existence. Yet, there exists a singular thread that prevents me from spiraling into utter chaos. The sound of bowling balls crashing into pins echoed through the dimly lit alley, a symphony of strikes and spares that drew the attention of all who entered. The air was thick with anticipation, each roll a dance of precision and power, as players focused intently on their targets, their hearts racing with the thrill of competition. Without a doubt, I understand it may seem a bit, well, reminiscent of something your grandmother might do. Yet, my heart is captivated by it. It's my sanctuary. Last year I stumbled into a league, seeking a way to fill my time, and to my surprise I found that I had a knack for it. Incredible as it may seem, I actually qualified for a tournament. A genuine, thrilling tournament awaits, just 3 hours down the road. My heart raced with anticipation. For months, I had poured my heart and soul into relentless practice. A fragment of my former life, the one I had before the divorce, began to resurface, stirring emotions long buried. But then the weight of my situation crashed down on me, overwhelming and inescapable. Who would be there to watch over my son? He's just a teenager, caught in the whirlwind of youth. And he possesses a certain defiance that sets him apart. He's the sort of kid who demands constant attention, a whirlwind of energy that could turn a quiet weekend into chaos. Last time I ventured into that territory, I returned home to discover that one of his friends had taken it upon himself to challenge the very foundation of my garage with his truck. The scene was far from beautiful. In that moment I realized it was about his father. He will take him. Yet, as if orchestrated by unseen hands, destiny, or perhaps the cruel twist of Murphy's Law, had a different course in mind. The weight of responsibility hung heavy in the air, a silent sentinel standing watch over the shadows that danced in the flickering light. It was a weekend like no other. The timing couldn't be more perfect, could it? Here I am, trapped in a moment of uncertainty. This tournament is an opportunity one cannot afford to let slip away. The weight of my relentless efforts bears down on me. Yet the thought of leaving my son alone at home fills me with dread. In that moment, I took the action that any devoted, albeit somewhat weary, mother would instinctively choose. With a sense of anticipation, I gathered our belongings and set off toward the hotel, the promise of adventure lingering in the air. Within its walls lay a shimmering indoor pool, a hidden oasis waiting to be discovered. As the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, I pushed myself out of the warmth of my bed, muscles stretching and awakening. With a sense of purpose, I made my way to my son's room, ready to rouse him from his dreams. He lay deep in slumber, cocooned beneath the warm embrace of the covers. I shook him gently, and he let out a low groan, rolling over as if the weight of the world pressed down on him. I leaned in closer and whispered that I was about to head out for breakfast, my eyes searching his for a hint of interest. "Do you want to join me?" I asked, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. His voice, barely a whisper, broke the silence with a mention of pancakes, a sure sign that he was finally awake. We descended into the hotel restaurant, where the air was thick with the familiar aroma of a standard hotel breakfast buffet, a scene both ordinary and yet filled with the promise of the day ahead. rubbery eggs, crispy bacon, and those little mini muffins that seemed to have lost all moisture. Each bite a reminder of breakfast's bittersweet promise. My son piled his plate high with fluffy pancakes drenched in syrup, while I chose a more prudent omelet, savoring the contrast between our morning indulgences. We lingered in the stillness, savoring our meal, wrapped in the serene embrace of the quiet morning. Once breakfast was finished, I turned to him, curiosity piqued, and asked if there was anything he wished to do before I had to return to the bowling alley. His demeanor shifted in an instant, a spark igniting within him. A mall loomed nearby, he whispered. They possess a GameStop. A thrilling search has led me to this game, and it seems they might finally have it in their grasp. Truth be told, malls have never really captured my interest. The atmosphere is thick with chatter, a cacophony of voices blending into a relentless hum, and every glance at the price tag sends a jolt of anxiety through me, as if I'm teetering on the edge of financial chaos. Yet, my son rarely asks for anything at all. He's a remarkable young man, truly. With a deep breath, I nodded in acceptance. We navigated through the bustling crowd at the mall, our excitement palpable as we made our way directly to GameStop. He stumbled upon the game he had been searching for, an aged relic that, against all odds, was priced at nearly $60. My mind raced in disbelief. Can you believe it? His excitement was palpable, a spark that ignited the air around us. He rarely made requests, and the weight of that made my heart sink. With a resigned sigh, I reached for my wallet, knowing I couldn't deny him this moment. I had invested in the game and he flashed a grin at me, one that was genuine and filled with joy, making every moment feel utterly worthwhile. We meandered through the sprawling mall for hours, lost in the art of window shopping and captivated by the vibrant tapestry of lives unfolding around us. There was something undeniably pleasant about those moments we shared, just the two of us, lost in our own world. It brought back memories of his childhood, a time untouched by the storm of teenage turmoil. That night, as I returned to the bowling alley, a surge of exhilaration coursed through me. With a sense of rejuvenation coursing through me, having shared precious moments with my son, I stood poised, ready to unleash my finest performance on the bowling lane. Yet, in an unexpected twist, I find that my bowling skills sharpen when fatigue and stress weigh heavily upon me. I plummeted from second place, spiraling down to fifth. Frustration clawed at me, yet I fought to keep a flicker of hope alive within. One of the girls I bowl with back home, Emily, emerged victorious in the tournament. Joy surged within me for her. After toiling relentlessly, she had finally earned this moment of triumph. Once the awards ceremony concluded, a lively group of us chose to venture out and revel in the night's triumphs. They extended the invitation, and I assured them I'd be there, provided I could avoid the wheel. The bar loomed just across the street from the hotel, a tantalizing beacon that promised an evening of adventure. Who would dare to take the wheel after a night filled with revelry? We placed our drink orders, and I felt a surge of daring wash over me, prompting me to indulge just a bit more than usual. Though I don't often indulge, there are moments when a glass of wine calls to me, inviting me to savor its rich depths. And let's just say I indulged far beyond a single glass. Amidst the echoes of laughter, we shared stories and reveled in the joy of Emily's triumph. The moment was filled with an undeniable sense of joy. As the clock struck 1 a.m., I found myself weaving through the shadows, finally making my way back to the hotel. A warm buzz coursed through me, a delightful blend of tipsiness that wrapped around my senses, leaving me blissfully happy and utterly relaxed. I pushed the door to our room open, revealing my son peacefully asleep in his bed, the flickering light of the TV casting shadows across the room. A smile crept across my face as I gazed at him, captivated by the serene expression that graced his features. As I slipped into the bathroom, the cool tiles beneath my feet sent a shiver up my spine. I changed into my soft pajamas, the fabric embracing me like a warm hug. With a sense of anticipation, I returned to my room, the bed beckoning me like a sanctuary, ready to envelop me in its comforting embrace. The room appeared still, yet a dizzying sensation enveloped me, as if the very walls were in motion. As I sank into the softness of the pillow, I drew the covers tightly around me, my eyes glued to the flickering screen, striving to immerse myself in the unfolding story of the movie playing before me. Yet, for reasons unknown, sleep eluded me. As I lay there, my mind swirled with thoughts of the tournament, my son, and the intricate tapestry of life itself. It was close to 3 a.m. when I first heard the soft rustling of my son shifting in his bed. I stole a glance at him, noticing the rhythmic rise and fall of his blanket, a subtle dance of shadows beneath the fabric. My mind raced with the question, could it be him? It's a thought that lingers in the mind of every parent, isn't it? Particularly when it comes to raising a teenage son. He crept forward, each step deliberate and hushed, convinced that I lay in slumber. As I continued to observe, a deep sense of fascination began to envelop me. It may seem strange, but I assure you, it is the undeniable truth. A peculiar wave of excitement began to wash over me. A whirlwind of conflicting thoughts surged through me. I knew it was wrong, yet an irresistible force pulled me deeper into the chaos. A thrill coursed through me, the awareness of his actions just a few feet away igniting a fire within. It was a feeling shrouded in secrecy, a forbidden thrill that coursed through the veins like a potent elixir. After about 10 minutes, I found myself engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions, sensations washing over me that I hadn't experienced in what felt like an eternity. I found myself lost in thought, questioning whether he would ever take that step. The wine swirled in my glass, a deep crimson that mirrored the turmoil within me. Perhaps it was the solitude that gnawed at my insides, but I reached a breaking point I could no longer endure. Text. I suddenly found myself asking, do you need any help with that? As I pondered the possibility of his rejection, a daring thought flickered through my mind. I could simply feign sleep-talking, weaving a web of deception to mask my true intentions. To my astonishment, he agreed. And that was the moment it struck me. What will I do now? That single word, yes, lingered in the air. A stark, undeniable truth that electrified the moment. A sudden jolt surged through the air, as if an unseen force had shattered the confines of reality. The haunting echoes of what-ifs and should-haves dissolved into the air, giving way to an unsettling sense of inevitability that loomed like a shadow over everything. I felt like a ghost, hovering on the fringes of my own existence, an observer in the theater of my life. A peculiar detachment washed over me, enveloping my senses in a shroud of unreality. It felt like I was breaking free from my own skin, shedding the heavy weight of morality and the suffocating grip of societal expectations. I rose to my feet, a peculiar numbness coursing through my legs, and made my way toward his bed. The room was enveloped in the gentle luminescence of the TV, its flickering light creating elongated, warped shadows that waltzed across the walls. I halted at the brink of his bed, my heart racing wildly, a desperate rhythm echoing in the stillness. The heat emanated from his body, a tangible warmth that beckoned me nearer, igniting an undeniable pull between us. For a fleeting moment I paused, my hand suspended just above the blanket's edge, a silent question lingering in the charged atmosphere. With a measured breath, I extended my hand and peeled back the covers, exposing him to the dim light, just enough to stir the air with anticipation. He lay there, his eyes wide, a blend of astonishment and an elusive emotion that danced just beyond my grasp. His hand remained tightly coiled around himself, a mute witness to the moment I had so abruptly intruded upon. I stood frozen, my gaze locked onto him, grappling with the whirlwind of emotions swirling within me as I tried to comprehend the reality unfolding before my eyes. It felt as though I was gazing upon a stranger, an unfamiliar incarnation of my son that had never graced my eyes before. It was an eerie blend of the known and the unknown, a haunting intertwining of maternal warmth and something darker lurking just beneath the surface. An undeniable force tugged at me, a compelling need to reach out and connect with him. I extended my hand, a shiver coursing through me, and carefully pulled his hand away. His skin radiated warmth, a slight dampness clinging to it, sending an electrifying shiver racing down my spine. Here I breathed, my voice a mere shadow. Let me guide you through this. I averted my eyes, letting them wander over the contours of his form, the delicate interplay of curves and angles that felt both known and eerily unfamiliar. I could see the unmistakable signs of his awakening desire, the delicate shifts that heralded his transformation from boyhood to manhood. I edged forward, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced longings and taboo musings. I observed in a mix of fascination and trepidation as my hand took on a life of its own, my fingers gliding in slow, intentional motions along his form. The softness enveloped me, While the firm resistance sent shivers through my senses, the contrast was utterly intoxicating. A shiver coursed through me, my breath hitching as my body betrayed me, yearning for the forbidden touch. I observed the emergence of a glistening droplet, a tantalizing pearl forming at the very tip. I leaned in closer, my tongue flicking out to savor it, the salty tang igniting a surge of electricity within me. He flinched at the touch, a soft gasp slipping from his lips. "Are you sure you want me to?" I breathed softly, my voice thick with longing. He nodded, his gaze locked onto mine, a wordless desperation flickering in the depths of his eyes. I bowed my head, my lips grazing his skin, igniting a surge of warmth that coursed through my body. I enveloped him with my lips, the taste and texture igniting a thrilling shiver of pleasure that coursed through my entire being. As I shifted, his fingers wove into my hair, tugging softly yet insistently. I leaned in closer, my voice dropping to a low, husky whisper, warning him that if he dared to pull, he might just find himself captivated by the consequences that followed. He tugged gently, igniting a fresh wave of longing within me. I urged him to push deeper, and he complied while I tightened my grip in response. The sensations crashed over her like a tidal wave, a tumultuous blend of pleasure and guilt, desire and shame intertwining in a dizzying dance. It felt as though I was ensnared in a tempest, violently swept and spun by powers far greater than my own. A wave of tension coursed through him, his body trembling as he approached the peak of ecstasy. His release was a force, a wave of warmth that flooded my mouth, a flavor that danced between the realms of the familiar and the forbidden. In the aftermath, an electrifying hush enveloped the room, leaving everyone breathless. We lay there, our bodies entwined, breaths mingling in the stillness of the room, a world of our own. The air hung heavy with unvoiced feelings, burdened by the gravity of our recent actions. "We can't make a habit of this," I said at last, my voice barely rising above a whisper. I recognized the deception, a frantic grasp at the fraying edges of a reality that was slipping away. Yet the words resonated with a chilling emptiness, a hollow echo of a promise I understood I could never fulfill. We attempted to converse, to unravel the chaos that had unfolded. Yet the weight of our silence spoke louder than any words could convey. The emotions surged like a tempest, raw and complex, intertwining in a chaotic dance. And then, as if summoned by an unseen power, we were pulled back together, the longing flaring up like an uncontrollable blaze. He asked me once more, and an inexplicable force gripped me, rendering me powerless to say no. The guilt lingered, a persistent whisper haunting the shadows of my thoughts, yet it was eclipsed by an intoxicating wave of longing that surged through me. "Oh my God," I thought, "is he really ready again?" Doubt crept in as I questioned the wisdom of his early arrival, and soon my thoughts spiraled into a whirlwind of possibilities. The boundaries that separated mother from son, right from wrong, had become a tangled web, distorted and nearly erased. We found ourselves ensnared in a tempest of illicit longings, a fervent waltz of yearning and remorse, a clandestine bond that would eternally tether our fates. There we stood, at the edge of it all, after everything had unfolded. The air in the room hung thick, saturated with unspoken emotions, burdened by the gravity of our actions. Deep within me, I felt the weight of wrongdoing pressing down, a heavy truth that echoed through every fiber of my being, morally, ethically, in every conceivable way. Yet the guilt, that oppressive, choking sensation, it was a moment that slipped away like sand through fingers. It surged in relentless waves, crashing over me with an overwhelming force, only to pull back, leaving a haunting, unsettling anticipation in its wake. I whispered to myself, "This cannot unfold once more." I wrestled with my thoughts, searching for a way to bridge the chasm between our actions and the truth of what we shared. Yet, the reality was that the boundaries had faded, perhaps even vanished entirely. As the thoughts swirled in my mind, a profound realization began to take shape. I couldn't bring myself to erase them. A shadowy secret lingered, a tantalizing thrill that throbbed just beneath the veneer of our mundane existence. The guilt and shame loomed, dark and menacing, hidden in the shadows waiting to pounce. Yet, an intoxicating sense of power loomed over them, casting a shadow that was impossible to ignore. And longing, a cold dread settled in my bones, whispering that this was far from over. A new chapter was unfolding. A new chapter unfolds, brimming with possibilities. A web of complexity, a dance with danger, An exhilarating rush awaits. My mind wandered through a labyrinth of thoughts, each one a tantalizing possibility, each turn revealing new ways to delve into this exhilarating dynamic. As my mind wandered, I envisioned the next encounter, a vivid tapestry of possibilities unfolding before me. Ideas swirled in my mind, each one more tantalizing than the last. New ways to connect, to delve deeper, to shatter every boundary we had ever accepted. And that was the moment when the most tantalizing, wicked thoughts began to slink into my mind. Thoughts that sent my pulse soaring. Concepts that sent shivers down my spine. Thoughts that shattered the very foundations of my self-understanding. A thought began to stir within me. What if we embarked on this journey once more, but in a different place entirely? What if we dared to venture beyond the limits, exploring the uncharted territories of possibility? What if we dared to dream beyond the ordinary? For now, I'll set that aside, leaving it to linger in the shadows for another moment. Allow me to pose a question that has been on my mind. What choices would you make in the face of uncertainty? Imagine being ensnared in a tempest of forbidden desires, where every heartbeat echoes the thrill of the unknown. What choices would you make in such a tantalizing predicament? Would you flee into the unknown? Would you dare to erase the memories that haunt you? Or would you dare to venture into the unknown,